Welcome back to my next Madden 23 rebuild, the Buffalo Bills. Now obviously the Bills are a bit of a different rebuild than usual. This is already a really good team. Obviously you have guys like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Von Miller. There are a couple weak points on this team though, but I'm not going to give myself 5 years. I'm only going to give myself 3 years to try to win as many Super Bowls as possible, not just one. Obviously if I get one, I'll consider this a success, but I'd like to get 2, maybe 3. As always, here are the schemes I will be using. On offense, we are using the vertical zone run scheme with the Buccaneers playbook that just gives you the best passing stats in my opinion. And then the defensive scheme, this is what I usually run, but obviously did not have to change anything. So on offense, I really don't see anything that we need to add. Maybe a couple linemen because their right guard is a 71 and their right tackle is a 74. But outside of that, Stephon Diggs is a 96, Gabe Davis is an 80, Crowder is an 80, and Isaiah McKenzie, I think that's his name, is a 76 overall. Yeah, that is his name, Isaiah McKenzie. Just making sure I got that first name right. But on the defensive side of the ball, you have a few questions here. Obviously, you have guys like Von Miller and Ed Oliver, but your left outside linebacker is a 68 overall. You don't have a second grade defensive tackle, and your other edge rusher is only a 76 overall. Granted, he is a star depth trait. And we are starting the season without Tre'Davious White. He is gone for another 4 weeks. So our best corner is an 82 overall. And then you have Kaiir Elam over here on the other side as a hidden depth trait. And then up top, you have possibly the best safety duo in the NFL right now. I really don't think it's much of a debate, but they are both a 91 overall. And to help the linebacker situation, we are going to trade for Roquan Smith to add to an outside linebacker. He is a player in real life that demanded a trade from the Bears, or requested a trade at least. He has since decided to play out this contract, but I think if someone called with an offer like this, I think the Bears would gladly take it. And with that trade, we obviously massively improved this defense. We now have 3 very good linebackers, all-star depth traits, the lowest one being an 82. And I would say our weakest point is probably defensive back under Kaiir Elam, because past that they are 67 overall, which isn't great, or maybe defensive tackle at a 75. But for now, that is the only trade we are making. Obviously, in real life, the Bills just won this game in a pretty convincing fashion, minus the 4 turnovers, but they still won 31-10. But let's go ahead and jump to the end of Season 1 and see how good this team is. Well, I'm going to say this was a bit unexpected. We finished 10-7 and completely missed the playoffs. Josh Allen does throw for 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. On the ground, Devin Singletary ran for 6 touchdowns. Zach Moss ran for 15. Receiving, Stephon Diggs had 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. Gabe Davis had 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Jamison Crowder had 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Tremaine Edmonds led the team in tackles with 120. In sacks, that goes to Von Miller, who got 16.5. And interceptions, Matt Milano got 4. So I'm honestly not real sure what happened, because we finished as this 7th best offense and the 4th best defense in points per game, but at 10-7 we don't make the playoffs. And in a pretty shocking twist here, Mac Jones and the Patriots defeat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl 42-21. Alright, so this re-signing period just got a lot more interesting. Roquan Smith has decided he wants to leave, along with Jordan Poyer and Dawson Knox. So we are going to be replacing some pretty high overall players on this team. Alright, and the only contract I am offering right now is to Roquan Smith. We offered up 2 first-round picks to get him. We cannot let him leave to go to another team. And I had to pay him a ton of money, but we get Roquan Smith back, so we don't completely and totally waste our 2 first-round picks. And that was the only free agent I could sign, so we're going to need to draft pretty decently here. And with the first overall pick, the Texans will take a defensive tackle out of Florida State. And with our first pick here in this draft, I'm going to take strong safety Joe Meredith out of Ohio State. He is not a scheme fit, but I think he's the best strong safety left, and we did lose our strong safety. He will be a normal depth trait, not what I wanted to see. And now with our 3rd round pick, I'm going to take left guard Devin Bishop out of USF. He has A awareness, A impact blocking, and A pass block. He will come in with a hidden depth trait. So if you watch my rebuilds before, you guys know that I generally let the CPU pick in rounds 4 through 7, but this time I'm going to go ahead and spend a 4th round pick on tight end Scott Calhoun out of Virginia Tech, and he will have a normal depth trait. So not the best draft that I pulled off, but I did get a 76 overall left guard in the 3rd round. I feel like that's pretty solid. Scott Calhoun was a 66 overall tight end, and then the CPU took a 66 left tackle, a 65 defensive tackle, a 59 overall quarterback, and a 61 overall center. And here's the offense headed into Season 2. We still have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, but we lost our running back, a couple receivers, and a tight end, so Allen's probably going to need to play even better than he did last year if we want to make an actual Super Bowl run. And on the defensive side of the ball, we may have also taken a small step back. We lost one of our defensive backs, so we don't have any depth there. We lost our strong safety. I didn't realize the Bills were that much of a challenge to rebuild because they have like no cap space. Granted, I did cause that by giving pretty much all of our remaining cap space to Roquan Smith, but let's go ahead and advance past Season 2 and see if we can at least get to the playoffs this year. Alright, we went 10-7, but we at least won the division this time, so we get into the playoffs. We finished as the 19th offense in points per game and the 8th defense. And doing these rebuilds, I don't usually look at the scenarios going on, but Von Miller could retire, which honestly may open up a lot of cap space for us. Josh Allen ends with nearly 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Running the ball, James Cook got 5 touchdowns. And receiving, Stephon Diggs, 1,500 yards to 9 touchdowns. But Khalil Shakir, 1,100 yards, 19 touchdowns. That is absolutely insane. Leading the team in tackles is Tremaine Edmonds with 152. In sacks, Von Miller got 23 and is possibly retiring off of that. And interceptions goes to Teron Johnson with 4. And we win the wildcard game 35-17, so we advance to the divisional round. But in the divisional round, Cincinnati blows us out of the water 45-17. And the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl 24-17, led by Brad George, an auto-generated rookie who not only won Offensive Rookie of the Year, he also won League MVP. And Von Miller has retired. We do lose a very, very good player, but hopefully it clears up a little bit of cap space for us. And in this re-signing period, we are going to lose Ed Oliver and Gabe Davis. And I have offered 3 contract here in free agency. We're going to try to get DJ Reader, Darnell Mooney, and Jonathan Greenard. Hopefully all 3 of those guys accept, and we get all 3 of them to join Buffalo. And we are here at the next draft where we don't have a pick until the 3rd round. Let's see who the Vikings take with the number 1 pick. They take quarterback Trayvon Jeffries out of Stanford. And here in the 3rd round of this draft, I'm going to take right tackle Rod McKinney, and he will come in with a normal depth trade. I'll be completely honest, this rebuild has not gone near like I thought it would. I really thought trading for Roquan Smith in the beginning would really put us in a good position to make a Super Bowl run early, and then we missed the playoffs, and it has not really gone well since then. And I took possibly the worst player that we had in this one. The only one that's even competition for this guy is a corner that the CPU took in the 7th. But at least they got a 73 overall defensive tackle in the 4th round, so we at least have Steve Quincy out of this class. Alright, this will be our 3rd and final season of this rebuild that has so far gone way worse than I thought it would. Josh Allen still a 96 overall quarterback. We still have Stephon Diggs as a 97. It looks like Shakir is now a 79 overall star depth trait, so that's good. Darnell Mooney is injured to start the year, which is even better. That's just adding to the success of this rebuild so far. And over on defense, we have Tre'Davious White, who is a 95. Johnson is back from injury. I guess he was injured at the beginning of the last season because I thought he had left, but he's an 84 overall. And then Kaiir Elam is a 78 star depth trait. The D-line is average at best, I would say. We have DJ Reader, who is an 85 overall, and then the linebackers still look really good to me, but we really need to pull off some major shit this year. And because this is the last year, we're going to pull off one trade. I'm going to trade a 1st round pick and a 7th round pick to Jacksonville for tight end Evan Ingram. Is that going to massively help this offense? Probably not, but at least gives Josh Allen one more target. So let's go ahead and now simulate Season 3 and see if we can pull off some sort of miracle to win a Super Bowl this season. So I'm going to assume that the Bills are still completely cursed in Madden. They were pretty bad last year. No matter what you did to them, they stayed awful. This year we go 9-8 and win the division. But yeah, we are still not a very good team, I don't feel like. We finished as the 7th ranked offense in points per game and the 24th ranked defense. Josh Allen throws for 5,100 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. On the ground, James Cook runs for 11 touchdowns, and receiving, Stephon Diggs at 1,400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shakir with 12 touchdowns, and Evan Ingram with 15 touchdowns. Tremaine Edmonds with 134 tackles. In sacks, that goes to Roquan Smith with 14, and interceptions goes to Tre'Davious White with 4. We at least do get out of the wildcard round 35-28 over the Chargers. And this is fitting as hell to end on. We lose to the Chiefs in overtime, 41-35. And Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars get a Super Bowl win here over the Cowboys, 31-24. And it looks like the MVP was Jalen Hurts, but for the Falcons, which is interesting. So I know I said Buffalo might just be cursed in this year's game. I know in Madden 22 they definitely were. No matter what you did to that team, they would lose a lot. I don't know why Buffalo is completely broken in 22. This was not my best rebuild, and I will fully admit that. I did not think I'd get into that much cap hell, but I really was. The defense we built up solidly, I guess. We have a new safety that's a star dev trait. I never really got the D-line where I wanted it. Von Miller then retired. Tre'Davious White is now an X-Factor corner. But yeah, that is how this rebuild has gone, and honestly, this was not my most favorite one I've done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.